The movie begins in 1993 as we meet a young boy who is always blindfolded even when it causes him trouble. His mother will not let him remove it. One night as they are eating dinner, his father comes and starts beating his mother, telling her to abandon the monster child. Hearing him abusing his mother and dragging her away, he takes off his blindfold and chases after them, and as he looks at his father with his eyes exposed, his father snaps his own neck. Seeing what he has done, his mother tries to choke him so he can't hurt anyone else, but her love for him stops her. Scared, he struggles to control his powers but manages to stop himself from killing his mother too. Realizing it is not safe to be around her, he silently walks away. 20 years later, the boy has grown into a man with much more control over his powers. Due to an injured leg preventing him from working, he uses his powers to steal money from people to survive. One day, while sitting at a busy market, he uses his powers to make people freeze, but is surprised to see his powers don't work on a delivery man who was unloading a truck across the road. After finishing the delivery, suicide, the man, who seems to be immune to the boy's powers, and his friends Akira and June come out of the building. Akira and June then also fall under the spell and cannot move, but Shueisha is still unaffected. When the boy walks away, Shueisha's friends return to normal, but suddenly he gets hit by a passing car. Returning to his apartment, the boy keeps thinking about Shueisha but decides to let it go, assuming he had died in the accident anyway. However, at the hospital we see that Shueisha is still alive. As his friends try to cheer him up, Shueisha reveals he was also in a car accident when he was a kid. He survived, but the rest of his family didn't. When he asked about his job, his friends tell him the company has fired him. As Shueisha is worried about losing his job, Jean shows him the card the man who hit him and suggests he go after him for compensation. After leaving the hospital, Shueisha goes to the address on the card, which leads him to a guitar repair shop where he meets Kane and her father Kumio. Kumio quickly recognizes him and apologizes while admiring his speedy recovery. When he asks about the compensation, Kumi asks if he can pay it in installments. Kane then hands him a check, but Kumio argues with her because it came from his retirement fund, which he has been saving for Kane to get her book published. She insists, but Shueisha leaves without taking it. When he gets back to his friends, he explains he refused the money because he couldn't make Kane lose her dreams, so they offer him a job at the repair shop instead. Starting work the next day, he immediately impresses Kumio and Kane with his dedication and work ethic. Over time, Shueisha and Kane become close, so much so that she trusts him to read a draft of her book. Over dinner, Shueisha shares the tragedy from his childhood that his entire family lost their lives in the accident, and he feels he could have saved his brother who was in the back seat with him. He then explains that since the accident, his mantra is live until you die. One day, as his friends visit him in the shop, they get hypnotized again as the boy stares at them through the door. After they return to normal, he introduces them to Kumio and Kane, and they quickly hit it off as Akira teaches Kumio how to use a tablet. June teases Shueisha about Kane, but he says he likes her because she is true to herself. The boy then walks into the store and hypnotizes everyone but still cannot control Shueisha. Seeing this, the boy controls Shueisha's friends to attack him, but Shueisha pushes him away and fights the boy. But as he pins him to the table, Kane stabs Shueisha in the back. Shueisha continues to fight, but then the boy controls Kane to push her father through the window. While Shueisha is distracted worrying about Kumio, Kane shocks him with a device and the boy walks out of the store with his book. They are rushed to the hospital, but Kumio dies due to excessive blood loss. After receiving first aid, Shueisha meets Detective Shibamoto and his assistant, and tries to explain how the boy controlled them to follow his command. However, he lies to them, saying that Kumio committed suicide to hide the truth about Kane. As Shueisha wonders how he is immune to the powers of this boy, Shibamoto comforts him and invites him over to his house. This reminds Shueisha of his childhood tragedy when he was crying and guilt-ridden for letting his brother die. It was also Shibamoto who took him home and cared for him. On returning to the shop to comfort Kane, Shueisha spots the tablet and realizes, since Akira was recording a video just before the boy walked in, he captured the entire incident. When he shows it to his friends, they suggest using it as evidence but realize they can't since Kane can be seen pushing her father out the window. After asking Akira to edit the video, Shueisha calls Shibamoto but finds the boy at the door. He grills the boy about why he is resistant to his powers, but the boy just hypnotizes two strangers to attack him. Shueisha makes his way back inside the shop and tells his friends to run. They transfer the video to a USB stick and escape through the window just before the guys break through the door. The strangers grab Shueisha, and as he struggles to free himself he hits that boy, making him lose concentration, and the strangers slip out of his powers while he runs away as Shueisha chases him. Down the road he sees the boy has an impaired leg. The boy uses his powers again to get some workers to beat Shueisha, but when he is blinded by a car's headlights he loses control of them, making Shueisha realize his eyes are the source of his power. As the workers attack him again, Shueisha calls him a monster who killed Kumio. The boy announces he can't tolerate someone who is immune to his powers, so Shueisha must leave the city. They then hear Shibamoto's voice, who is still on the phone, and the boy smashes it before being attacked and dragged to the police station by Shueisha. At the station Shueisha meets Shibamoto's assistant, who says they found something unusual about his face while going through the video. As they discuss it, the boy hypnotizes a police officer to shoot Shueisha while also forcing the detective to lock him in a room. He tries to shoot Shueisha but hesitates before pulling the trigger. Shueisha takes advantage of this hesitation and quickly turns off the lamp, making everyone normal again. As the boy flees, Shueisha chases after him to the city center, where he once again asks why he is immune. The boy once again takes control of random people to grab Shueisha, and as he struggles to get free, Shueisha's energy seems to hurt the boy as well, burning his finger. The boy then angrily makes a woman throw her own child, but Shueisha leaps to save him before hitting the ground. Under his powers, people start throwing stuff at Shueisha and he gets crushed by a cement block. As he lies there helpless, the boy says he could still be alive if he had kept his secret and walks away, but Shueisha miraculously survives again. Meanwhile, the officers look at the security footage which proves the boy is capable of controlling minds. Shibamoto discusses with his assistant, who thinks both Shueisha and that boy are mutants with powers capable of canceling each other out. She also thinks their encounter might be dangerous for everyone around them. After discussing the case, the police hold both of them responsible for the shooting incident and put out a request for information about them. Returning home, the boy finds the police searching his apartment but uses his powers to hypnotize them. He then asks an officer if he knows his name because he is also a human just like them and not a monster, but he then makes them shoot each other and leaves, not noticing Shibamoto hiding, who saw the whole thing. Shueisha meets his friends, who notice that his stab wound is completely healed. Shueisha tells them that he thinks he is the only one who can stop that monster. They want to help him, but he insists on doing it alone. Meanwhile, Kane meets an old lady who reveals she is the boy's mother. She tells her she found out about him through the newspaper. She apologizes for him but leaves without saying anything else. After finding out about his mother, that boy returns to his old home but learns she is tipped off the police. After hypnotizing everyone, the boy points a gun at his mom, accusing her of giving birth to a monster, but again he can't kill her. Back at the shop, Kane finds the video and learns she is the one responsible for her father's death, but Shueisha assures her it was not her fault. As she tells him about the lady who visited earlier, he calls her house but reaches the boy, who was about to kill himself. Shueisha tells him that his purpose in life is to kill him and ask him to find his own inspiration. The next morning, Shibamoto shows up at Kane's shop and asked about Shueisha and informs her that the boy's mother committed suicide the night before. While searching for Shueisha, they meet his friends, who reveal he went to fight the boy alone. Shibamoto receives a tip that they're headed to a theater and they pursue the two of them in the car. Shibamoto tells Kane that Shueisha always says he wants to live until he dies because he doesn't know if he can die due to his healing abilities. When Shueisha arrives at the theater, he learns the boy has hypnotized everyone, as they all say he is not capable to kill him. They deliver a message that everyone there will suffer because Shueisha would not leave the boy alone. He then begins to make people commit suicide by jumping from the upper floors. But as he is distracted by Shueisha, Shibamoto sneaks up and points a gun at him, saying he can't let him destroy the world with his mutant powers. The boy replies that Shueisha is also abnormal and Shibamoto thinks these guys should have never been born. As Shueisha gets upstairs and sees them, the boy uses his reflection to force Shibamoto to point the gun at Shueisha. As they run away, Shibamoto jumps off the balcony, committing suicide. As the boy's hold over the people is lifted, they see all the dead bodies around and panic, causing chaos. As they all rush outside, Kane shows up and points a gun at the boy, saying his own mother asked her to kill him. She accuses him of killing his own mother, but he denies it. He uses his powers on Kane and takes her away while making people attack Shueisha again. When Shueisha resists, his energy starts affecting the boy's body and he begs him to stop as he comes downstairs with Kane. The police blind him with the lights and try to arrest him, but still he managed to dodge them as they call him a monster. He comes in front while disagreeing with them and makes them smash the lights. Shueisha comes over to him and demands Kane's release, but he shoots him as they confront each other. Shueisha accepts he is also a monster who wanted to hide his true identity, which is why he didn't even help his own brother. Soon Akira and June show up and try to attack the boy, but he stops them, saying humans are weak and he wants to kill them all, but Shueisha says no one needs to die. He then sees Kane walking away trying to commit suicide, but on Chushi's request, the boy releases her from his powers. As the boy walks toward him, his book falls out of his pocket and Shueisha finds his name written on it. The boy jumps off the railing, but Shueisha grabs his hand once again, saying no one, not even him, needs to die. He demands Shueisha let him fall, but he will not, so the boy forces Kane to push Yushi as well as they fall to the ground. The boy says he is happy to meet him because he always wanted someone to know his name, which is Shueisha Tanaka, just like him. In the end, they both survive as Shueisha protected him when they hit the ground, while the boy is moved by his kind gesture. That was all from the video. Subscribe for more content like this and leave a like to help the channel out. Also leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Take care.